So for this problem, what was your strategy? What did you do? Anybody? I'm pretty sure you did something. Why did you multiply the volume of the pyramid times 3? Yes. So exactly right. So she said that you multiply the volume of the triangular pyramid, which is 13.5 meters cubed, by 3. Because if they have the same base and the same height, that means the prism would only be will be exactly 3 times as much, right? And I proved that to you last time when I filled in the little cups. I filled 3 of them into the prism. So when you multiply that by 3, what do you get? 40. If all of you got the same answer, why nobody says anything? I need you to be a little more confident with your answers. There you go. That was easy, right? That's just to refresh memory on the properties. All right, the next one. This one shows you the relationship that I just drew up there with the triangular pyramids and the triangular prism when they have the same base and the same height. Notice how they use this formula, and I've told you to not to use it because it's complicated. It looks weird. It's better to say base times height divided by 2. So use that one. Don't use this thing. It's literally the same thing. All right, let's work on this one now. Number 6 on the following page. Read it carefully. Read it very, very carefully and work it out on your own. Okay, not quite. Hang on. Here's why. Because the area of the first one is a triangular prism, right? Do you divide by 3 when you're talking about triangular prisms? Do you divide by 2 at all? Yeah, you divide for the area, right? But read the question. Are we looking for the area? Do we have to look for the area? They already gave you the area. The base area is, meaning all of this, which is the area, that's 14 centimeters already squared. The square should tell you that's the area. You don't have to divide by anything because you already have that measurement. You just do basically what Adriana said to multiply this by the height of 4.8. And what do you get? 67 point what? 2 centimeters cubed. Now, if I'm looking only for the pyramid, which is literally 1/3 of it, right? I have the same area, I have the same height. What do I do to that number? Do I multiply by 3? Does it make sense to multiply it if the pyramid is smaller than the prism? No, right? Because if you multiply it, you end up with that bigger picture. Every time you multiply by a whole number, you end up with that larger picture. So no, if the pyramid is basically per se it's inside the prism, then that means you have to divide it by 3 because there are 3 of them in there, right? So when you divide by 3, what do you get? Can you do it? For the pyramid, the volume of the pyramid, 22.6 centimeters cubed. Also notice that they didn't ask you for the volume of the pyramid. What did they ask you for? What is the question asking you to do? How much greater is the volume, right? So what do? You subtract it. 21? It cannot be 22.4. 4? So you get, what do you get here for the answer then? When you subtract this by 22.4, what do you get? 8, 44.8. So that means that the prism is 44.8 cubic centimeters greater than the pyramid, right? This shouldn't be that difficult actually, but if you don't read it carefully and you don't think about it the way you should, it can become complicated. So read your questions very carefully. This is a very plausible star question. They're not going to give you a shape, they can give you this kind of information, and you have to do multiple steps to get to it. All right. Now ignore the part on the guided practice, but I do want you to focus on this guy right here and give me the volume of that shape. Be very careful. All right, so first let's identify the shape. What kind of shape is it? If you know it's a triangular prism, then how do we figure out the base? I'm asking like, what is the base? Just a triangle. Why is the base a triangle? He goes, duh, that's the triangular, right? That's what we call a triangular prism. Exactly. We call it a triangular prism based on the base, right? Therefore, the base must be a triangle. So we can say that this is the base. And now we can find the formula, which is volume equals area of the base times height. That's it, right? Because it's not a pyramid. And for the area of the base of a triangle, it would be base times height divided by 2 and then times the height. So it would be 3 times 3 divided by 2 times 16. 3 times 3 is 9. 9 divided by 2? 4.5 times 16. What do you get? 72 inches cubed. Right there. Like what? What other way? What did she do? Did she get the same answer? Oh, maybe then no. Times 9. Why? And then what do you get? Huh? So, there he goes. Hey, I heard something very interesting. So he said, y'all said, well, I multiply all of them. Something that I've never taught you, by the way. And then this little guy said, then you divide by 2. When you do that, you actually get the same volume. And let me show you why. When you multiply 3 times 3 and not divide by 2, what are you finding the area of? The rectangle, right? Not the triangle. When you multiply 3 times 3, you're finding the area of a rectangle, or in this case, a square. And then you multiply the height, you're assuming that it's actually a square prism. And you don't have that, right? You only have half of that. So when you do that, you multiply 3 times 3, which is the base, multiply by the height of 16, you get the volume of the entire thing. But we don't have the entire thing. We only have half of it, right? So when you divide by 2, you actually land at 72. So yes, 144, is that what you got? Yes. See? So yes, once you divide by 2, you realize that you got the same answer, and that is because we're talking about only multiplication and division, which are opposites of each other, and you can use them like adding and subtraction. You can put them in different places, and it'll still work. That's the only reason why. But I don't want you to do that because you won't be able to get that if the answers options are like in the formula format. You won't be able to find it. You need to know the formula, how to work the formula. All right. All right. I will allow. Well, I'll give you a few minutes to do these 3 right here.
You know how they give us the formulas and stuff?
Yeah.
I think it's give where it says 1 over 2 base times base.
No. Hey. At the end of the day, I mean, not the end of the day, the last week, I'm going to give you the formula so you can write them the way that I want you to write them to make it easier. So let's work on these right here. 1, 2, and 3. They're not, I mean, well, 4, 5, and 6. You're finding the volume, yes. They're not very difficult, so don't overanalyze it. Just understand whether the base is a triangle or a rectangle, and if it's the prism, if it's a prism or a pyramid. That will tell you whether you need to divide by 2 or divide by 3 at the end. Let's go. All right, let's go over these very quickly, guys. Again, the first thing you want to do whenever you have this is identify the shape, the solid. This is called triangular prism, right? Therefore, the base should be the triangle. That means I'm going to need those measurements to find the area, right? So to find the area is base times height divided by 2, which is 9 times 9, 81, divided by 2. What is it? 40.5, right? That's the area of the base. Then for the volume is area of the base times the height. So it will be 40.5 times the height of 5. And you get 202.5, right? Feet cubic. That's it. By the way, O is not a number. O is a letter. 202. Good. You need to divide correctly then. All right, the next one. We know it's a pyramid. Yo. We know it's a pyramid, and we know that the base is a square, right? Do we divide when we find the area of a square? Do we divide when we're finding the area of a square? Why would you? It's not half of anything, right? It's just a square. So you never divide when you get the area of a square, just like you never divide when you get the area of a rectangle. The only time when you divide by 2 is when you have a triangle. So 6 times 6 is 36, right? And now the volume is area of the base times the height divided by 3, right? Because it's a pyramid. So the area of the base is 36. The height is 6 divided by 3. What do you get here? 6 times 6? 216 divided by 3. And the volume equals to 72 square yards. Yes. All right, the next one. The what? Yes, the base is a triangle, right? You can use either one on top or the one at the bottom. And then it'll be area of the triangle is base times height divided by 2, which is equals to 7 times 10 divided by 2 is 70 over 2, and that gives me 35, right? So the volume equals area of the base times the height, and that's it, because it's not a pyramid, so we don't divide by 3. We only divide by 2 when you're looking for the area of a triangle, right? We only divide by 3 when you're looking for the volume of a pyramid. So far, for what you know now. Things change later on. So the area of the base is 35 and the height is 5. So it will be 175 inches cubed. And that's it. That's all there is to it. Yes. Please remember, hang on, please remember to put the units of measurement on them. If you don't have inches, feet, or square yard or yards cubed, then your answer is automatically incorrect. Because you're not telling me what they are. I need to know that you're talking about the volume. And when you put cubed, you're automatically telling me this is the volume. That's why. Yes. Well, you won't have free response like that on the test, but you will have it on my test. So keep that in mind. Or you might have a combination. It'll be the answer without any kind of units of measurement. You might have the answer with a square, or the answer with the cube, or the answer with just the inches and nothing else. And you have to select the right one. You would think. With some kids, ooh, it's squared. For review, yes. So your homework is gonna be where'd it go? That one. Page 327. 327. All of you should have that page. All right, and now that we're done with that, we're gonna move on to lateral and surface area.
We do the whole page.
What is your question?
What? Everything?
What?
We do the whole page.
Just the front page.
All of it.
Yeah, all of it in the front page.
11, 10, 9, 8. No, we're not doing those.
All right, y'all. So we're doing lateral and surface, total surface area. What?
What happened?
All right, please do not lose me. Hey, on Friday, I gave you this yellow shape and this red shape that you guys who are listening and watching this video cannot see. But one of them, the yellow one, is a what? A triangular prism. What is the red one? A triangular pyramid. They both have the same base and the same height, right? And we said the difference was that this one had more volume. In addition to that, what can you tell me from these shapes? Yes. 3 other pyramids can fit into the prism. Yes. What else? By looking at it, what can you tell me? Okay, this was a bigger volume. What else? Yes, perfect answer. The prism has rectangular sides, and that is very important. The pyramid has triangular sides. That makes a big difference. So for those of you who play soccer in Spanish, uh, when you well, they have like leagues that only speak Spanish. But anyway, uh, those of you who do that or you played as a kid and you hear the word lateral, that means lateral, which in Spanish it means side. Well, in English it means the same thing, the sides. So when you hear the word lateral, we're talking about the sides, literally the sides only. The rectangles that Rafael pointed out. These rectangles right here. I'm not talking about the base on top or the bottom, only the rectangles. That is called the lateral area. Please understand that. Now, what does the word total mean? All. Everything, right? So if I ask you for not the lateral area, but the total area, then what must I include? Everything, right? The lateral area and base 1 and base 2, right? I need the area of both bases. The same thing happens here, but this is a triangular pyramid. So when you open it, the lateral sides are different. They kind of expand out of each other. So for these, what can you do to find only the lateral area? Four? Lateral. Look. 3, right? Brilliant. So she said you can find the area of 1 and multiply it by 3 because we have 3 sides, right? The bottom one is not a side, it's not lateral. The bottom one is the base. But if I ask for the total surface area, then yes, you have to find the area of this one, multiply by 3, and then add the area at the bottom because they're not the same. All right, so that being said, we're going to move on to one of these exercises and see if we can figure out the area, the lateral area of this one is in that same page, the following page, on top. And trying to find the lateral area, which is shaded in light green. Let's go. All right, so Okay, pizza said it, not me, but let's go over here and figure out what we got. So, how do you find 48 as the area, a lateral area? Faith. Okay. So 4 plus 5. What is this in the middle? Why? Because that one's 3, right? So this must be 3 as well. So when you add them up, you get 12. And then what? 48 centimeters squared. All right. When you look at this shape, the whole thing, not just pieces, is there a way that you can name it? Can you tell me that's a rectangle? Is it a rectangle? Is it a square? I said look at the entire picture. Do not think anything mathematical. Just common sense. Look at the picture. Do you know that picture? Does it have a name? The entire picture. That's a triangle? I don't see a prism. All right. I know what Adriana was trying to say. It's called composite figures, right? It's basically a it's basically a weird figure that has a lot of them inside that you can recognize. And when went over that, what did I tell you to do? What was the best approach? Break them into pieces, right? But you don't want too many. You want the least amount. So what Faith did without even thinking about that, she made it this one into a rectangle, and then you have these two extra ones, right? These are separate. So, hang on. I love that she did that. I mean, I know that you got it, but their kids are like, what? Let me explain it. So, when you convert that into a rectangle, then you don't have to worry about getting the area of each of them and then having to add all of them up. You can just get the entire length from the base and then multiply it by the height, and you get all of this covered by the area, which is 48. And that we call that the lateral area. That's 48 centimeters squared. Why is it not cubed? It's not volume. That's right. It's area, right? We're counting squares, not cubes. Yes. Well, I said lateral. Is the top and the bottom a part of the lateral sides? Nope. That's the top and that's the bottom. So hang on. If I ask you for the total surface area, then what must you do? What do you say, Matthew? At what? At the bottom and at the top to the lateral area, right? So you put 48 plus, what is the area of the bottom and the top? 12 for each? 4 times 3 is 12. But is that a rectangle? Then what do you do? Divide by 2. Hang on. Yes. So if you grab this guy and put it over here, it will create a rectangle, right? So good point. But it doesn't always work that way. That's what I'm trying to make sure that Faith. I said it doesn't always work that way. That means it's not generalized. And I'll tell you why that happens. Um, when you have these kind of shapes, I want the area of both the top and the bottom, right? So how many of those do we have? We have two bases, right? Times the area of each, which is what? It's not 12. 6. So when you find the area of the whole thing, it'll be 12, and then you get 60. So it'll be 60 centimeters squared for the whole thing. That's the total surface area. Um, the 6 is you multiply 4 times 3 divided by 2 because it's a triangle. you get 6. But we have 2 of those. So 2 times 6 is 12. And the 48 we already had. So we added to it and we get 60. Now, Faith, to your comment that it does, yes, it works, but not all the time. And here is why. You cannot generalize stuff that way. Formulas are general. When I say the area of a triangle is always base times height divided by 2, that works no matter what kind of shape you have as long as it's a triangle, right? On this one, I cannot give you a formula if I cannot generalize it. In other words, if I can't use it everywhere that has this kind of shape. So for the lateral area, here is the formula. Lateral area equals the perimeter of the base times the height, which is what you actually found. You found the perimeter of the base, which is this guy right here, and you multiply it by the height, and that gives you the lateral area. That's it. That's all you did. For the total surface area, is the perimeter of the base, which is this guy right here, because we found it, plus 2 times the base, which is what we did right there. And you can use those formulas for every single prism. That's why it's important to understand there are 2 bases. We're going to go a little more into detail on this tomorrow, but make sure you bring the homework for the other one, and we'll go over it tomorrow as well.